Welcome back to Old Fox Racing PS4. We are again at the Monza combined oval and road circuit with the Ferrari F50 GT1. Race 1 already happened. Diogo Silva was your winner, followed by Andy Bramall and Andy Booth in third. Qualifying for this second race, round 38 of the championship, saw Andy Booth and Diogo Silva on the first row, just like in the first race, but in opposite order, with Kev Allen and Andy Bramall in the second row, and Jambo and Michael Langley, a rookie in this series, on an excellent sixth position as lights go out. And here we go again at Monza. First corner, Diogo Silva makes not such a good start, but protects the inside, protects his second place. Here we follow Phil, who is in 11th and last, and we can, oh dear, we already have a spinner there. Everyone was trying to get through in a very civilized way, and yet someone managed to spin. I don't know exactly who that was, but I have a suspicion it was Stuart Brand, because Stuart wasn't in last at the start, and he's currently sitting 11th and last. So action-packed first corner here at Monza combined. We are still on the first lap. We are in the oval. We are following Jambo, who is in 6th place. Michael Langley, the newcomer, is in 5th. And what a great start by Michael, after having some connection problems in race 1. And Michael Langley is already off into the banked area there. He lost control of his Ferrari in that area and has lost the position to Jambo. And here comes Kev Allen on Diogo Silva. Kev Allen for second place. Kev Allen is challenging second place. I think he's got the job done into Curva Grande. He's trying to protect Diogo from coming back at him, and job done. Kev Allen in second place. Diogo falls to third, and Andy Booth is already with quite a lead. And Diogo Silva is in the grass. Diogo Silva is in the grass into Curva Grande. Where is the next car? He's coming. Here comes Andy Bramall. Andy Bramall is on the inside of Lesmo. Diogo Silva with the dismal first lap, as he was second, then dropped to third, and now drops to fourth. So, oh, and he spins. What a disastrous first lap for Diogo Silva. He spins his car. Ooh, that was close. Diogo pressed the reset button and he got almost tagged there by Todd Antonio. So Diogo falls right down the order, and this is not good. He is, of course, the winner of race 1, and he's got a lot of work to do if he wishes or desires to win the race again, because Andy Booth has finished the first lap and already has 1.5 seconds advantage over Kev Allen, as Phil is now challenging Diogo Silva, who is now in broad, and Phil has run wide into the parabolica. Very difficult. Oh, and Michael Langley has spun again. He is facing the opposite way in the parabolica, which is not what we want to do at the end of the first lap of this race. Thankfully, he still has 9 laps to recover, but lots of action in this first lap, mostly all driver errors, not much tangling between two cars. So some of these drivers still getting to grips with the difficulties of driving the Ferrari GT1 around this very challenging circuit here at Monza. Jambo, we follow him in the chase camera, which is the best way to follow the action here at this circuit, because there is no trackside view. Jambo is now in 4th. I wonder what happened with Simon Allen. He had quite a cautious first lap. I don't know if there were any dramas, not that we could see here on this highlights video, but Simon Allen with a very, very discreet, I should say, first lap. He's in 5th place, and he certainly should aim for more than that. Diogo Silva is behind him. Diogo was defending from Phil, has found a way around Todd Antonio, is 14 seconds off the lead. Can he do something magic here and try to recover at least to maybe a podium position? We saw that in the first race with Andy Booth, also booted to the back of the pack and recovered quite nicely to 3rd place. And Diogo will think that he can do the same. We have a red Ferrari in the grass. A red Ferrari in the grass, it's Todd Antonio. There are a lot of red Ferraris here. I wonder why. It's not a very common color for a Ferrari. So We have a few yellows, but we have a few white. And here is Scott Davely in one of the red Ferraris now behind Stuart Brand in the other, or one of the other red Ferraris, as Todd Antonio drops to last. Michael Langley has actually recovered to 10th. He's now in the points, so hoping to score his first ever points in All Fox Racing PS4. Let's see, we still have quite a few laps to go, and I'm sure drama is yet to happen, and errors, mistakes, daring overtakes, everything you see in All Fox Racing PS4, because we have action from start to finish, and here is more action. Here is more action, and I think that was Stuart Brand with a rather erratic effort there at the Parabolica. He was like weaving left and right, and eventually hitting Scott Davely and just putting him on the gravel. So Scott really losing a bit of time there, and really that was Stewart's own making. So I wonder what the stewards are going to think about Stewart's action, so to speak. No investigation that we can reveal yet, as we now follow your race leader, who is completely oblivious to all these errors that are happening behind him. He's on his own race. He's on rails here at Monza. Andy Booth, what an incredible season he has had as of late. Incredible performance in the last 8 to 10 races. He would be the championship leader by a significant margin. So better than Kev Allen, better than Simon Allen, better than Diogo Silva and Andy Bramall. Here is Andy Booth with a very serene type of race, working hard in the cockpit of that Ferrari F50 GT1, as every driver does here at Monza, but really building a nice gap now, make it 2 seconds really over Kev Allen, who has not given up yet on a potential win. Kev had a mysteriously disastrous first race. He finished in 6th place, was a little bit all over the place, as it were, and now hoping to redeem himself here by currently being second and actually reducing that gap to Andy Booth from more than 2 seconds now into 1.8. So maybe we haven't seen the last battle for the lead, as Andy, is he already seeing a back marker in his I'm sure that must be wrong. That wasn't the car there. It was just some optical illusion of some sort, as Andy continues to drive very nicely over these Monza turns. Here is the first chicane, very weird chicane. You don't want to go straight there because there is absolutely no way out of there. Very strange curbs. Look at the amount of work that he has to do with his hands around this very, very odd chicane, which we don't know even if it existed in reality or if it's just some nightmare from some of the Project Cars 2 developers to really irritate all the drivers here that are in this second race, round 38 of the championship. Behind the pair that is leading this race, we have Andy Bramall doing a great job. Again, he's already almost 6 seconds from the leader, but nice position there from Andy, who has been quite discreet but effective over these 2 races. Fourth is Jambo, who is ahead still of Simon Allen, who's not really having a huge pace here in race 2. He, of course, was very quick, but slightly erratic in race 1, eventually finishing 4th. Jambo is holding nicely to that 4th position. Then Simon Allen, Diogo Silva, Phil, Stuart Brand, and now here comes Michael Langley on the recovery drive from that spin earlier at the Parabolica. He's now exiting the oval into the actual start-finish line of Monza, and he's trying to get the toe of Stuart Brand. For how much longer will Stuart hold to that 8th position? Because here comes Michael Langley in his debut weekend for All Fox Racing PS4. Yet another driver now showing some very good pace and some very good indication here. Excellent 9th place, and I think he can do more. I think he's got a better pace than Stuart Brand, and it's just a matter of time and finding the right really the right opportunity to go around Stewart. Here comes the first Lesmo. They're both almost nose to tail now. Stewart doing a good job there defending. Here the breaking point for the second Lesmo. Michael there using all the track available to him as they now go down to the Variante Ascari, which nowadays of course has a chicane, but in the good old days was just a completely flat out left-hander. Here it is, and Michael really trying to get to the back of Stewart so that he can benefit from some drafting. A lot of drafting techniques are required to go around other people here at Monza. Here is the breaking point, very heavy for the Parabolic, as we are now finishing lap 4. The leader is already in lap 5, Andy Booth, and we continue to follow this nice battle for 8th place, which really is the closest battle we have currently in this field, as Todd Antonio has lost a lot of time actually. I wonder what has happened to him. And really late braking there from Stewart and also from Michael, almost hitting those barriers at the first corner. And oh dear, here comes Stewart. This is a very common mistake. We've seen this all weekend long. We've seen it at the exit of the chicane, we've seen it at Lesmo, we've seen it at the Parabolica. It looks as if drivers just keep turning beyond the turning point and really then just keep pointing at the inner side of the barriers. Anyway, Michael, yet another position there for 8th place, and Stewart actually has lost a couple of seconds with this incident and therefore has lost touch with 8th place. I wonder how far behind Scott Davely is around 6 seconds, as Todd Antonio really is shown as having a last lap of 3 minutes and 2 seconds, which is around 30 seconds off the pace, and he's already several laps behind. So I wonder if he's still on the track or if he has stopped. In any case, he's in 11th, so that's the only position that will not award any championship points today. Simon Allen continues to be in 5th. He has been very discreet. He's running on a pace of 2:25.9 in the last lap, which is faster than Jumbo, and in fact is almost well, it's the 3rd fastest lap really. He's also faster than Andy Bramall, but really he's not yet close enough to Jumbo so that he can really be a threat here. Simon is now concerned again with the championship. He's more than 50-60 points away from Kev Allen, who is now in 2nd place. Simon is really needs to find a way around Jumbo quite quickly. Jumbo himself has some visual contact with Andy Bramall, but again not close enough to be a threat at this stage. Let's see how the second half of this race is going to evolve, because we might still see a few battles here. Right now it's a bit well, a bit boring, for lack of a better word, because everyone is seems that everyone used race 1 to really learn how to go around here, and now they're applying their newfound skills in race 2. So everyone is doing everyone is set into their rhythm, and everyone has a rhythm that involves being a few seconds behind another car and a few seconds in front of another car. So we're not really seeing any major wheel-to-wheel battles here. Of course, for that to happen, you need to be in drafting distance of the other car, which is perhaps maybe half a second, maybe 7/10. If you are a couple of seconds behind, you are not going to get any draft even in the fastest part of this oval, as Stuart Brand is actually finding right now, because he's lost touch with Michael Langley. Just 3 seconds. You can see him in the horizon, but not really benefiting from any slipstream whatsoever with this distance. So he's now a little bit on his own. He's got 5 seconds advantage over Scott Davely. Scott has been a little bit discreet this round as well. He's finished 10th in the first race, and it seems that he's heading to another 10th place in the second race. That's another championship point. Scott has done a great job as of late. He already collected more than 100 points. He's sitting on a very nice 10th place in this championship, but really hoping for a few more points. Let's see if that's going to be possible. Certainly he has a little bit of work to do. Simon Allen continues to follow Jumbo, but not quite close to make a move. He's now a little bit more than a second. Is 1.7, 1.8 seconds, which starts to be a more interesting distance to start a little bit of slipstreaming now into the breaking point for the Parabolica. Simon continues to chase Jambo, and Jambo has gone himself. Jambo has gone into the grass and spins. Major drama here for Jambo, as he on his own entirely has just, I think he's just run wide at Parabolica and he's just lost it, and he's in the grass or in the gravel trap, and then really it's very easy to spin because some of your wheels are on the grass, some of your wheels are actually stopped by the gravel trap, and you just go round and round and round. And that's what happened to Jambo. He's actually lost 5th place as well to Diogo Silva, who at least now is on the top 5 position. He was 14 seconds off the lead a few laps ago. He's now 21 seconds, and he doesn't seem to have any pace whatsoever to go after Simon Allen. So Diogo is all of a sudden into damage limitation mode here, as Andy Booth is winning, and he is in 5th place. Andy Bramall, of course, his other opponent in the battle for 3rd place, is in 3rd. But the reality is that Andy has missed a few rounds and therefore has fallen behind by a few points in this battle. So really, Diogo's primary concern will be Andy Booth and his pace and his leading position. So all the good work that Diogo did in the last race, winning it, has been undone now, because he's basically going to finish 5th, and even if he wins the race, he's going to go for 25 plus 10 points over this weekend. That's 35, and Andy Booth is going to go for 40 if things finish as they are right now. So points as they run, Diogo loses another 5 points to Andy. The gap was 28 points and now would be 33, which is starts to be a slightly unsurmountable challenge for Diogo, unless of course Andy has some problems in the remaining races of the championship, disconnects or has a problem and falls to the back. But he's driving just too well right now for that sort of stuff to happen. He's already in lap 7. The distance to 2nd place has actually been quite stable for a while now. So these two are basically running more or less at the same average pace in the last lap. Actually, Andy was slightly half a second, faster than Kev, but I think over a longer distance they basically kind of offset one another as they run into the high or a middle 225s. Andy Bramall now hits the barrier at the exit of the chicane, so that's not going to help his cause. He's running a little bit slower, lapping in the mid 226s, just like Simon Allen, who's now inherited 4th place, and Diogo Silva is on the 227s. So not great pace there from Diogo. He of course is running completely alone and does not benefit from slipstreaming any other car. As we now follow Kev Allen, your championship leader, also your champion of 2nd places. In fact, the most common result in this series is Kev Allen finishing 2nd. That's a statistic for you. I think he's got 12 2nd places if he manages to finish in 2nd place again. And therefore this has been a great contributing factor for such a strong performance in the championship for Kev. I think the title is probably done and dusted. He is, however, in visual distance of Andy Booth and has not given up yet, although he's lost a few tenths of a second here. He's now 2 seconds behind, and let's see if Kev has anything for Andy over the remaining 4 or 5 laps of this race in this distinctive yellow Ferrari, very flashy Ferrari. At least makes it easier to identify. Kev is doing a good job there. Some solid 18 points for the championship at the moment, but he's trying to go after Andy. But Andy is of course very fast and also very consistent. So I'm not entirely sure how Kev is going to do this, unless of course Andy makes some sort of mistake. And dear, it wasn't Andy who made the mistake, it was Kev. Really fast use of the reset button there, but a complete classic spin in the parabolic. I wonder what happened there. I think he was just probably a little bit too ambitious on the throttle, on the acceleration from the apex there. He just lost the back end and off he went. So the battle for first place, for the lead, is really cooled down now, as we see Michael Langley continuing to recover, and that's actually a great performance from Michael. I hope that he is now going on the outside of Parabolica and he's done the job. That's really good stuff there. Phil was trying to protect the inside, braked late, but Michael braked even later and said, thank you very much, I'll just go from here, and here is my 7th place. And that's a good performance there from Michael. I hope that he's able to join more rounds, because clearly we are always in need of new drivers that bring new blood to this series and new skills, and certainly we could strengthen the sort of like competitiveness of the midfield, and I think Michael is doing a great job there in 7th place. He's probably a little bit too far behind Jambo, because he is now around 15 seconds behind him, so that's probably a little bit too much in 2 laps. Unless Jambo makes another spin or has another problem, he most likely will finish in 6th. And Phil now trying to stay with Michael. He's actually managed to do that. See, he's not far behind, and he's already seeing the slipstream of Michael, so I don't think this battle is over just yet, because Phil is coming back at him, He probably has an opportunity here at Curva Grande. I think he's a little bit too far behind, but certainly on the approach to Lesmo, he might try a move, and we await to see whether Phil can recover this 7th place or not. He's done a good job there in Curva Grande, but Michael also had quite a fast line there, so no way he can just dive on this approach to Lesmo 1. Let's see if he can get him on the way to Parabolica, as in fact Michael's brake lights seem to be only working on one side. I wonder what's going on here, whether he had a crash or anything, and whether again the stewards are going to have a look at this, because he doesn't seem to have the full lights running. And of course safety first here at All Fox Racing PS4 as well, as we now follow Andy Bramall. Andy is of course much closer to Kev Allen right now. Kev made that mistake with that spin at the Parabolica, and Andy is just 3 to 4 seconds behind him. That's probably a little bit too much, because we are already in the last lap. This race has only seen one leader, and his name is Andy Booth, and he's going to score yet another victory. I think it's his 6th victory of the season, so that will tie with Craig Lloyd, who is not here this weekend and actually used to win pretty much every race that he turned up to until recently. He's done certainly 4 or 6 races after his latest victory, and now Andy Booth, through a good set of consistent runs, is now equaling that track record of 6 wins in the championship, with Kev and Simon Allen having 10 wins each, and a few other drivers having a couple of wins or a single win. Andy Booth is in his last few corners here in Lesmo 1, only Lesmo 2, Ascari and Parabolica to go, so he's basically 3 corners away from yet another victory, and this was certainly a commanding victory. No one really threatened him seriously at any point of the race. Kev Allen ran within a couple of seconds for most of the race, and then succumbed to a mistake in the Parabolica in a couple of laps ago. As Kev is going to score a 2nd place, he probably has enough to keep in front of Andy Bramall. And then Simon Allen and Diogo Silva will complete the top 5. But here is your leader now coming out of the Parabolica. He finished 3rd in race 1. He got pole position for race 2, and There was never any doubt on who the winner of this race would be. It is Andy Booth. The tracker flag is in the air. Where is it? I can't see the checker flag. I wonder if it was very, very difficult for Project Cars 2 developers to actually model a checkered flag. Here comes Kev Allen, second place, nice job. Third for Andy Bramall, fourth for Simon Allen, who was within a second of Andy at the end. Fifth is Diogo Silva, who made that mistake early in the race on the first lap at Lesmo and never was really a factor for the podium here in this race. Jambo was running very well for most of the race in fourth, but then made that mistake, and that was critical because he dropped to sixth and never recovered from there. But nevertheless, another good place for Jambo. Michael Langley, well done for seventh. That's 6 solid points. And here comes Stuart Brand with his windscreen completely smashed. I wonder where, and Scott Davely as well in the same condition. So I wonder what has happened with these drivers, because we certainly didn't see anything that really would justify. And here's the answer to our question. Todd Antonio is actually in the race. He's a few laps down, but he is going to make another finish. Unfortunately, outside the points for Todd in race 2. He's already scored a few points in race 1. But anyway, a slightly different race 2 with Andy Booth winning it from Kev Allen and Andy Bramall. Confirmation of the results for this round here on your screen. And the points table is now becoming... drivers are more and more apart, really. Most drivers having 20, 30 odd points difference to other drivers. The exception would be Stuart Brand and Phil, who are really close in that battle for 8th place. Anyway, next week there is more. Follow us and join us for more excitement. Thank you.